Start, or do we should wait a few more minutes? We're good? Okay, Mo, you can kick us off.
All right, well, welcome everyone to the YOF Grant Application webinar presented by the 24-25 Programs and Partners Committee. So a little about what our committee does. So we are really the liaisons between our preferred partners, our partners, Erica's Lighthouse, Schoolhouse, and that's it. And then our preferred charities, UNICEF and the Thirst Project. And with our newest coming out that will be announced very soon. Well, we are the connection between the international board, Key Club as a whole, and these partners. We bring you whether it be Key Club Week, Bring Voice Week, anything that's really targeted towards supporting these programs and partners. And yeah, we're gonna get into it, and you guys are gonna learn a lot about how to apply and really what the YOF is.
Okay, so now we're going to introduce our presenters. My name is Ariana Lee, and I'm an international trustee from the Capital District.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Mo Ali. I'm an international trustee from the Michigan District.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chikama Okizer. I'm an international trustee from the Michigan District.
Okay, so we're going to go into, of course, the YWF grant during this time. Of course, with deadlines, the first cycle of applications are due on October 15th. For resources, if you want more information about the YWF grant, more than what we go into, just visit at keyclub.org/YOF. And a few requirements for a club to actually get the YOF, you must be in good standing, which means that the yearly dues of the club are paid.
Ari, you're muted.
Oh, sorry about that. So we're going to be going into our agenda. So essentially, we're going to start with an overview of the YOF grant. Then we're going to have recipient testimonials that's going to be written, and of course, from Izzy that we have here. Then we're going to go into the initial application process, basically an overview of the budget charts, then the open-ended section. And then we're going to go into an overview about the check-in sections. And then in breakout rooms, basically going to have everybody speak about why they're here, any other projects they want to implement, all of that. And then we're going to give you our contact information for if you have any further questions. Okay, so I'm going to start with a YOF grant overview. Basically, what is the YOF grant? The YOF grant is essentially a grant that clubs can have and gain monetary support from the Kiwanis Children's Fund. The clubs are allotted between $250 and $2,000 for a service project of their choice. And there are two application cycles, meaning there are two opportunities to receive the grants. However, recipients cannot receive more than one grant per Key Club year. And of course, the closest application cycle is going to be due on October 15th. For instance, as seen in the photo, the YOF grant can be used to orchestrate a back-to-school supply drive. You can really utilize this grant for any service project of your choice. Okay, so now we're going to go into how you can really get the grant. Any club in good standing can receive the YOF grant. There is no service project too small or too large. And we'll later go into how to tailor your service project to the needs outlined in the open-ended section. There are two sections to the application: the budget, of which expenses and revenue are detailed, and the open-ended section, where you must answer questions in a paragraph format.
And now we're gonna hear from of the clubs that received the YOF the previous year. First we have the written testimonial. So this is one from a club that received from the Pacific Northwest District. So Clackamas Key Club applied to the Youth Opportunities Fund to request financial aid to help support our annual service project, Winter Blitz. It gave us the opportunity to provide essential items like toiletries, warm clothing, food, kitchen appliances, and other household goods to families in our community for the chilly winter holidays. Given the grant money, we were also able to buy toys and gifts for children to make their holidays a bit more special and exciting. From Shannon Lynn, Clackamas High School Key Club in the Pacific Northwest District. And next we have a person from a club last year that received the YOF from the Michigan District, Izzy Campo.
All right, hold on. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I hope that you guys are learning so much, and I just want to start by saying that the Youth Opportunities Fund is one of the most amazing opportunities that Key Club International has to offer for all of its members. So like Moali said, my name is Izzy, and I'm the immediate past president of Melvindale High School Key Club, along with being the immediate past membership development and events chair of the Michigan District Board. What exactly was my project? So originally, the project started as an idea that we would be able to donate blankets to the University of Michigan Children's Hospital, MOTS, during their Christmas toy drive that my mom helped to bring back, called Toys for MOTS, in a way of thanking all of the staff who's constantly working overtime. The Christmas drive is for terminally ill patients who are there for long periods of time throughout the year, some even living there. Unfortunately, they did not take any homemade items for the drive, even through an organization such as Key Club. Even though we had this block in our original plan, we quickly came up with a solution, which turned into what we now know as Blankets from May, to honor my mom, May. My mom has had 2 liver transplants almost 2 years ago through the University of Michigan hospitals. My family and I are forever thankful for the organizations such as Donate Life, who helped to keep her alive to this day. We had 2 goals in mind when it came to this project: to help honor the organizations that helped out patients just like her, and to help comfort patients just like her. And I'm proud to say that we've been able to do just that. During our pre-planning, we reached out to other clubs in our division and neighboring divisions to host a day-long blanket brigade event. We were able to knock out the majority of our blankets with such a big group, and we got to spread the word about the Youth Opportunities Fund to our fellow members and how it can make a huge impact like we did that day. My first step after having made so many blankets was to reach out to different organizations to help us with the distribution process. I started by reaching out to the Michigan Family Donor Council, who helped me reach Erilyn, the founder of Erilyn's House of Hope, which is a nonprofit organization that had the same goal in mind that I did. Erilyn herself is a transplant recipient and knows the trials and tribulations of the process. It's hard, especially for patients who, like my mom, had complications. When you have such complications, you're in the same room of a hospital for months at a time, no friends, no family. You're just there, and it's so mentally hard and just draining. So what Erilyn's House of Hope does is they create gift baskets, which we are now a part of. Our blanket is included with a small card explaining the story and why we started. Through our YOF project, we were also able to keep in contact with Erilyn, who loves having our Key Clubbers help out at different events that she hosts. Something so small turned into a huge opportunity, and we are so grateful. You can make the same type of impact by applying to the Youth Opportunities Fund, so I encourage you to help spread the word to your home clubs and fellow members about the YOF, because it is truly one of the best opportunities that Key Club has to offer for our servant leaders to help build up their home, school, and communities.
Thank you so much, Izzy, for that amazing testimonial. That was really inspirational to hear. So now we're going to be talking about how we use fondant. Oh, just to like preface it, there'll be time to ask Izzy some questions during the breakout rooms. So like write down questions that you have from that and keep them for the breakout rooms. So we're going to talk about using fondant. And so the first thing you need to do is create an account. And you have to go to the keyclub.org/YOF to get the fondant link. And you have to use your club's ID and make an account. And you don't need to create multiple accounts for one club, just one club, one account for one club. And your advisor can be given the login details for your club so you can submit the legal documents you need, like the letter of agreement and the final report. And then you'll be taken to a page where you have to fill a form with information about your club, including your club name, your district, the state, club ID, city, country, and also some personal information about the person filling the form. So like your prefix, your first name, and so on and so forth. And then setting a password for you to be able to constantly log in whenever you need to, and not to complete the application whenever you are get information or feel like filling more things in. And then you want to make sure you confirm your email by clicking the confirmation in your inbox before you're able to access the portal. So you'll be prompted to choose a language once you hit the apply button on the right, and then you'll be able to start the application for the YOF grant. Okay, so once you're logged into the portal, you have to navigate to the YOF section and look for the Youth Opportunities Fund on the dashboard. It might be labeled as grants, funding opportunities, or specifically the YOF grant. And so you want to access the application by clicking on the application, and you can see the different grant cycles to choose which one you want to apply to. So there are two, there's the October grant cycle and the March grant cycle, and you can choose which one you want to apply to. And then you want to review the specific guidelines before starting your application, just to know what to expect, what information you're going to need, and how you can start prepping the materials on time. And paying attention to the eligibility criteria, the funding limits, and the project requirements, and getting all the information you need together before the application is due. Finally, once you get to the application screen, you can fill out important information about your project, which means providing information like what your project is about, who it's for, how much money you will need, and what you hope to achieve through the project. You'll also be able to upload information to go with the application, like the proposals, timelines, budgets, and so on and so forth. And it gives you a chance to put our information in a way that you want it to be received. So you want to make sure that you go through it thoroughly and you put all the information that you know you want to be used to analyze your application. And you want to make sure you can always come back to edit the form until it's due, and which gives you a chance to go through everything and make sure everything is all good and how you want it to be analyzed when the application is due.
Okay, so now I'm going to do an overview of the budget charts. There are a few things to take note of when creating a budget chart. Remember that all figures must be in US dollar amounts, of which can be converted from the currency that you utilize. Revenue may not be greater than expenses, as you must show financial need to apply for this grant, and not all spaces have to be filled. For instance, if your expenses do not fill all the spaces that we have allotted, that is perfectly fine. Just make sure that it is an accurate representation of your budget. So now we're going to go into expenses. This is an example of the expense portion of the budgeting chart. Of course, I'll give you this time to allow you all to take any pictures or necessary screenshots, and we will detail each section individually in a few moments. Overall, expenses are tied to the monetary values coming out, what you purchase and what is removed from what you have. I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to take any pictures you need, look over it. Okay, now we're going to go over to revenue. This is an example of a revenue budgeting chart. And I'll also give you this time, of course, to take any pictures, look over if you need, and we'll detail, again, all the specific sections in a later portion. Overall, revenue is tied to the monetary values going in. Okay, so now we're going to break down all the sections previously shown in greater detail. Of course, expenses are considered the cost required to implement your desired service project. Within the expenses budgeting chart, there are two sections that induce the greatest confusion, purchased and expecting. So while purchase refers to what was previously bought, expecting refers to your desired purchases. And then breaking down the revenue aspect of it a little bit more, it is considered, of course, the income received, whether that be from an external resource or the YWF grant. So received details what was previously donated or gained, and expecting is what you have not yet cashed, and very often what you expect from the YWF grants.
And now we have the open-ended application. So this is where we're talking about your club in detail in paragraph format. So first we have project details. So these are some questions that are going to detail your project. So the name and description of the proposed project, why the project is needed, how the need was identified, and who the project impacts, how the project aligns with at least one Kiwanis Children's Funds cause area. And then logistics is who in the Kiwanis family is involved with the project and how many are working on the project. and then partnered organizations involved with the project, and a timeline of the project and a progress update if the project is already in motion. And then we have project details. So this is going to be a lot more in detail. So you can be asked the following questions when applying to the YOF grant. Who is your project impacting, and why is this project needed, and how did you identify the need? So use the community needs assessment and SWOT analysis tools as an organizer to answer questions relating to why the project is needed, the impact, and who the project is impacting in an organized fashion. Organization from the planners aligns very well the application questions, and presenting the information in a coherent manner ultimately makes it easier on the graders to approve your application. Explicitly state the community need, definition of community and audience first, and then use more descriptive language to add any additional information. And then using quantifying, otherwise known as numerical details, will help graders to better grasp the impact of your project and it's capable of achieving more. So by using statistics such as how many people your project can impact, how many projects you can create to help your community members, or how many hours of service your project can generate, you can make a project sound attractive and worth allocating more money towards. And then if your project is reoccurring or has already started, use real statistics from its last execution, and then explain how receiving YOF grant money will help your club to grow these numbers. This way, graders are able to comprehend a tangible benefit in allocating grant money towards your project. If your project has not started or is in its first year of activation, use readily available statistics such as community size, planned budget, and the amount of club members involved in the YOF project to predict quantifiable impact statistics. You do not need to use an established mathematical formula to derive these numbers, but you must be realistic. An example would be, it would not be realistic to ask for $300 to host a meal packaging event for 10,000 community members. If you are worried about your numbers may be inaccurate, it is okay to state that they are predicted. Look to quantifiable details that make a project look more valuable to eliminate bias towards clubs who may be more capable of reaching wider audiences. For example, if your club or community is smaller, it may be wiser to use percentages for graders to understand the proportion of your targeted community. For example, if your club's project provides a tutoring service open to your entire school of 100 people and 75 people are receiving tutoring services, it is more attractive to state that 75% of your community was impacted instead of 75 impacted participants, which leaves graders to speculate the size of the community. Could it have been 75 out of 200 or 400? So really just if you are a smaller community, use those percentages to really amplify your club's impact. And then lastly, use power verbs to convey your impact. Some examples would be affect, facilitate, trigger, ameliorate, etc. What verbs can you think of? So when you're drafting your application, really think, what impact words can I use to make my application really have that impact really more quantifiable, and make sure graders are able to really understand the grasp of your project. And then organize any emails, talking points from calls, text, or other forms of communication with K family members and organizations in one place to access them while filling out the application. This will make it easier to articulate the roles, external members, or organizations because you have already done so with them via message / call. So this also helps in making a description of the role more concise. And then if your club plans to post about your YOF project on social media, some examples would be Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, etc. Creating a promotional schedule can help both in answering the application and keeping your editor or webmaster on schedule throughout the project. Provide a number of posts and a short explanation of the post in your YOF application, and also feel free to include the dates on which the graphics are posted on your timeline. If your club plans to create posters, banners, merchandise, or other promotional materials, include a brief description of them and the location of your club's plans to utilize them, or how. For example, if your club plans to print handouts, think of where the implementing material promotion is the most strategic. Some examples will be hanging a banner in the school lobby or making a PSA during morning announcements. The easiest way to represent the Key Club brand in promotion and articulate it on the application is to adhere to the Key Club brand guide. This makes all promotional materials easily recognizable as Key Club promotion. Also, describe the ways in which your promotion aids in the promotion of Key Club's core values, character building, inclusiveness, leadership, and caring, and also how your promotion is accessible or inclusive, how it promotes leadership, and prompts similar to that nature. Lastly, try to be as detailed as possible in your timeline. Explicitly outline all club meeting times and deadlines. Explain what should be accomplished by each date, and each item accomplished by the dates should be aid in the ultimate completion of the YOF grant. And then finally, include the action steps to be accomplished by each date in your application. And finally, what is impactful about this application? How do they use quantifiable details to express an impact in their community? How do they use power verbs to better describe the impact their project can have? And how do you think the applicant derived their quantifying details? So we can just read this one over really quick. So let me see. The OSR first class provides service for 38 students. So that's a number, a statistic each year. And we anticipate that the equipment without maintenance will last at least 5 and up to 15 years with maintenance. So they're giving a timeline, how long the materials will last when they are given this YOF recipient money. And the impact of this project is not just for 1 year of students, as the impact will have a spiraling effect as the child fill classroom throughout our community with skills developed on our program. So they're really emphasizing that although this YOF grant will be given in this only 1 year, it will have a tangible impact across multiple years. The project is affecting approximately 60 students, so they're defining the community that they're impacting. That will be learning construction skills to build the equipment. 40 Key Club members this year, so they're explaining how many club members are being able to contribute to this project, and multiple faculty and staff members. So they're really emphasizing that although this is a project for one community, it's having an impact on Key Club members, 60 students in their school, and faculty and staff members. And this is another one, so we can read it again. So we are impacting 127 fifth graders from our 3 feeder elementary schools. So they're emphasizing who they are affecting, who they're impacting with their project. North Jackson Elementary, West Jackson Elementary, and Gum Springs Elementary. We are improving the students' ability to write letters. So they're really emphasizing what's this impact that the YOF is going to have on these students, really a specific detail. To write letters, giving them more opportunities to practice handwriting and motivating them by connecting them with a high school student who is encouraging them to do the best in school and who cares about their interests and hobbies. We are also impacting the 90 Key Clubbers who are willing to write these letters, okay? So they're emphasizing how many Key Club members are involved directly in this project and contributing to its success because they are now serving as a role model to 127 fifth graders. This will cause them to think about the decisions they make. So really emphasizing using those action verbs, cause them, impact them, ameliorate. They interact with others at community events like sports games where their pen pals could be present, and also improve their grammatical skills as they write and serve to be a good example for their pen pals. The program also serves to unite our community, so really emphasizing that although this is only for the fifth graders, it'll really have an impact on the community as a whole. By making connections with our feeder schools, it is important for our students, both elementary and high school, to feel a sense of belonging to our community and to know that others in our community care about them. So we can stop there. So really throughout this project, they're really emphasizing how many children or really this Kiwanis pillar that they are helping support through their YOF grant, how many Key Clubbers are involved, and really emphasizing the use of those action verbs to really emphasize the reach of your project and the impact that's going to have on your community. And then finally, we have what makes this a strong timeline? How do they incorporate action steps into their timeline to help the grader better understand the feasibility of the project? So you can see in this timeline, it's very detailed. There are specific dates and really what's happening at each date. So we can go through it really quick. So first meeting at this date, working designs individually and in groups, presented designs, came up with a mostly concrete final draft. And if we just skip down, we can see that they have really planning out their entire project in this timeline. So this really allows the YOF graders to know how this project will be executed and really in a timely manner, because we need to know that you're able to complete this project in 1 year. And through us being able to see how you're planning out your project, it can really make a big impact in how much money you're receiving, because it can really make a difference at how much we know your project is impacting your community through knowing that it's going to be executed in a timely manner.
Okay, so now we're going to be talking about the follow-up. So after you receive the grant, there's some certain things you have to do. And so there are some final reporting requirements. So as a grant recipient, you have to submit a report a year after you receive the grant. It's basically qualifying your club to participate every year, because it shows like you guys are determined and you guys have your program together, and it helps to show like the long-term impact of your project. It gives a platform to you to show your responsibility with management of the funds and the overall impact on your project and your community. And so the reporting deadlines are two. So for the early deadline, where the application is due October, the report is due December 31st of the following year. And for the second cycle, where it's due in March, the deadline of the report is April 30th of the following year. So for example, say you get the grant this October, you submit the grant this October, you don't have to, you turn the report next December. And same goes for the March deadline, the April of 2026. Okay, so then for financial accountability, it's important for you to show that you guys are trustworthy with the money you're given and that you have physical responsibility with the grant. To maintain meticulous financial records is really important, and to detail the usage of the dollars that are allocated to you from the grant. And includes keeping a detailed budget of expenses, retaining all receipts related to the product expenditures if you can, and being prepared to solve and provide a breakdown of the costs you spent upon request. And so all the grants was utilized for the reasons and specific purposes that were outlined in the original application. And if you deviate from this goal and this plan, it could breach the contract you signed. And also the project must be completed within 12 months of receiving the grant, as you have to actually the report after 12 months. Okay, so what should you expect? And so firstly, project description, and this is what to expect in the follow-up. So firstly, a project description. You want to give a comprehensive and detailed account of the completed project and show all the accomplished objectives and outcomes. And then secondly, you want to show the financial utilization. You want to give a thorough explanation of how the grants were used and allocated, and demonstrate physical responsibility and how you can adhere to the budget, or how much you exceeded it or went under your budget. And thirdly, you want to do a community impact assessment. You want to analyze how much your product impacted your community and compare that to the proposed impact that you had when you're writing your original application. And finally, the visual documentation. You want to show pictures, graphics to give proof of how your project went and to show the real outcome in your community, because that's really important to see, you know? And then the submission process involves basically going back to your fondant account from earlier and completing it there once you get the application and you've gotten the grant. And it's really important that you do all the required fields within the system. But if it's incomplete, it could lead to delays or impact future funding of your club's projects or even the current funding you've gotten. Real quick, in our room, Laura was talking about something I think was really important to bring up with the big whole group. We were talking about the Youth Opportunities Fund scholarship for ICON and for high school students that you get based on doing the YOF. And so Laura, do you want to continue your response or start again for the group?
Sure. So somebody asked about scholarships. They'd heard about scholarships coming from the Youth Opportunities Fund as well. So while they're completely different applications, but we do offer scholarships from the YOF, and that is to help cover some of the costs of attending the Key Club International Convention in July. So that comes from the section of YOF from the Kiwanis Children's Fund. And the Kiwanis Children's Fund also offers a scholarship for college. And that's offered once a year, and that is not coming from YOF, basically. So that, I think, is going to open in November and closes, I believe it's February 1st, similar to other scholarship timelines. And it's open to any Key Club member who would like funding to attend college. So I would follow the social media to find out when that is happening. Thanks, Carmen.
Yes, thank you so much for that information. Now I hope that you guys got lots of your questions answered in your breakout rooms, but if you didn't, we're having this time right now to ask any questions in this larger setting. If anybody has any, you can either unmute or put it in the chat. Any questions?
Hello. This is Jason again. So can we use the YOF grant as like prize money? Like using like, I don't know, a competitive setting and then like the winner gets this amount of money?
I do not think so. Laura, can you speak more about that?
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy. We have seen that before, but I would say it's discouraged. And if that's in the application, it may not be a project that we would fund. We would look to see if we could cover any other expenses for your project and increase the impact of the project. If you want prizes, what I would suggest is looking for sponsorship in your community. So contacting companies, stores, and asking for gift cards, asking if other businesses in your area would sponsor and purchase that gift card, or if it's like a video game system, a television or something flashy. Those types of things are something that you could ask for sponsorship in your community. Tell them that you're already getting a grant or seeking funding through grants to help with the other costs of your project. But we try to discourage people taking the grant money and basically just donating it, whether that's to a charity or the people that you're serving. Trying to do something in a project format with the grant money is what we encourage people to do.
Thank you.
That was a really good question. Thanks for asking that. Does anybody else have any questions? Anything? Okay, so someone said, my club wants to hold a CPR training event for adults who may need to be trained or renew their license. Do you have any suggestions on what we can use the grant to go towards besides buying these certifications? So okay, so of course, buying the certifications, you have to go towards money towards that. Maybe you should also look in towards, the event itself, whether that be, purchasing the area that you're having these CPR trainings within, recruiting the person who's going to be giving these trainings or anything. If they are volunteering, of course, you don't need to pay them, but if they are asking for money, maybe look into the costs associated with that. Any costs associated with this program as a whole would just go towards, the YOF grant. And yes, the presentation will be shared. Any other questions? All right. If you do have any more questions, feel free to reach out to any of us. The Programs and Partners Committee members here who are presenting, our emails are all linked down there. Laura's email is right there. If you have any specific questions that you didn't get answered today or you didn't leave in the chat, feel free to reach out to us and we'll respond in a timely manner. Thank you guys so much for coming to this webinar. I hope you received lots of information. I hope that you're going to take this back to your club and even apply for that first application session. If you guys have no other questions, you are free to go. Thank you for coming. Oh, yes, Sophia.
Hi, I actually had this question from a friend, and she was asking me If the club went over the budget after submitting a budget proposal, what would happen?
So I think that once the budget proposal is locked in, you can't really like exceed the amounts. But of course, like Laura was saying before, you can look towards external organizations, community centers or community groups local to you, and ask for those, that money that kind of exceeds the $2,000 or that $500 that you received from the YOF grant.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
I might add on to that you won't always get exactly what you request. So the committee looks at all of the projects and the amount that they can give and divides that amount. And they look at the budget sheet, they look at the plan, and they try to determine an amount that can make your project happen and still make as big of an impact as possible across all of the projects. So just because you ask for example, $2,000 does not mean that you would automatically get that if you get approved for the grant. So it, like Ari said, you have to be a little flexible and look for funding in other ways.
Thank you for that question. If nobody else has any questions, you guys are free to go.